We're reading Never Let Me Go. The novel's written by Kazuo Ishiguro. He was the winner of the Nobel Prize for Literature back in 2017. First thing about this novel, it's a work of science fiction, or maybe speculative fiction. But one weird thing, it's written in 2005, but it's about the 1990s. So instead of imagining a possible future, this is a novel imagining an alternative past? So one thing we want to think about, why set the novel in a speculative past? That's the first question we need to think about. And maybe when you first read this novel, it won't feel like a science fiction novel. It's actually kind of a school novel, which is sort of a subgenre, a little like detective fiction or romance novel. You may have heard of this book series that's about a school for young wizards. That's also part of this subgenre. Often these novels that are set in boarding schools are coming-of-age stories. And this novel is very much that. It's about the transition between childhood and adulthood. And this novel is also about memory. Our narrator, Kathy H., really tells the story by recalling her time at Hailsham with her friends Ruth and Tommy. Is she a reliable narrator? At one point, Kathy H. tells us, "This was all a long time ago, so I might have some of it wrong." On top of memory, we also want to think about different kinds of rumors and myths that circulate in this novel. Think about Miss Geraldine's secret guard, or the ghost stories about the woods around the school. So pay attention to memories, myths, fantasies, and other types of narratives within the narrative of the novel. We also just need to talk about this school, my friends. What is going on at Hailsham? We know the students live there. We know the school has kind of a reputation, or at least the students are told over and over that they're lucky and privileged to be there. Pretty early in the novel, we hear about this very uncomfortable assembly where Miss Emily reads the students the riot act. Her general drift was clear enough. We were all very special being Hailsham students, and so it was all the more disappointing when we behaved badly. But there also seem to be secrets here. There's secrecy around the students, about their lives, where they came from, what they're doing here, what's going on at this strange boarding school, and what's going to happen to these kids once they become donors and carers. This novel also seems to be about the quest for self-knowledge. What I suggest you think about as you move through this novel is not just a practical mystery of where did they come from and why are they here, but also recognize that those are philosophical questions. Where did I come from? Why am I here? Thinking back now, I can see we were just at the age when we knew a few things about ourselves, about who we were, how we were different from our guardians, from the people outside, but hadn't yet understood what any of it meant. I'm sure somewhere in your childhood, you too had an experience like ours that day. Similar, if not in the actual details, then inside, in the feelings. We expect schools to have a liberating influence, to broaden and expand young minds. Is that what happens at Hailsham? Is Hailsham a school, or is it a prison? This school seems to be about hiding the truth and sheltering its students from the truth of the world. So there's something paradoxical about this education. Maybe that's true of all of our educations. I also think you should pay attention to what the students study. Do they study all the typical subjects that a young person studies in school? They study poetry, literature, there's lots of art. There's a gallery that they contribute to. What are these people being prepared for? Eventually, you're going to find out the answer to that question. But then a new question emerges. Given the life they're being prepared for, why is this the preparation they receive?